Well, welcome back to Queens of the Paddock, an F1 podcast. My name is Alex.
And I'm Courtney.
And we are here to talk about the Australia race this weekend. So we're super excited.
Australia Grand Prix.
Yeah, I know. This is like definitely a fan favorite, I think, for everyone.
I was about to say, Alex, do your best Aussie accent.
Oh my God, I can't. I am so bad at accents. G'day, mate. I can't do it. Was that good?
Yeah.
No. Shrimp on the Barbie. So, okay, wait. Funny thing about shrimp on the Barbie. Dustin was like, oh, we should do shrimp for the Australia race. Mm-hmm. And I was like looking at different recipes for obviously our menu. And I talked to Renee, my sister's friend, and shrimp on the Barbie apparently is like, they get super offended by that because like literally like they have barbecues in Australia. It's like a thing that they do, but they don't typically do shrimp. And so like that's just kind of like a stereotypical
American
thing. Yeah. Which I like had no idea because you think about Australia and you're like shrimp on the Barbie. Like that's what they're eating, but it's totally not.
Well,
which like we'll get into our menu later, but I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
For some of these foods.
I know. I'm sad I'm going to be missing out.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So Courtney's got a big weekend plan.
Yeah. Wedding.
You want to talk about your weekend briefly? Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah. So,
right.
But okay. So
start out with some news.
Yes, we're going to start out with some news. There's actually been a lot of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. So I'll start out with McLaren and their organizational changes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this all gets implemented and done. But basically, they're moving away from having just one technical director, which was James Key, and they're replacing him with 3 different people for particular areas in their team. So James Key is out. He was the executive technical director, and the term that McLaren used was that he left the team as part of the restructure, but I'm like pretty sure he got fired. Yeah, I'm like
fired him.
It's a nice way to say he got fired.
Yeah.
Right. Correct. And no news on where he's going yet. So I'm sure he'll pop up at some other team because I feel like they always end up popping up somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But he will be replaced by 3 different people. So the first is Peter. I'm going to butcher these names. Prodromo? Peter.
Yeah, Peter.
So it'll be Peter, and he will be the technical director of aerodynamics. And then David Sanchez is going to be the technical director of car concept and performance, which he is currently at Ferrari, and he'll remain with Ferrari through the end of this year. So at the beginning of 2024, he will go to McLaren, and he's been with Ferrari for a decade. So,
oh wow,
yeah, he's been there for a long time. So we'll have to see who Ferrari brings in to kind of backfill him. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, they've got Neil Haldy will be the technical director of engineering and design.
Well, I'm glad to see that McLaren's doing something because they have just been struggling. I know the car is not where they want to be. I don't know if it's the drivers. I don't know if it's, all of the different team people or, but they need to do something. They can't keep going like this. In my opinion.
So, and I read too, like this was kind of in the works, like this whole plan was in the works. So that's what the team is saying. Like this is not a response to their current, I guess, results. That this was all kind of in the works, but I mean, they do have a whole new facility being built that should be open up soon. I believe it was like in June, and then they've got their own wind tunnel coming. Yeah. So hopefully this is good news for them, good news for the team. We like McLaren. We want to see them do well. I mean, I feel like they could be doing so much better than they're doing right now. So,
oh yeah, 1,000%.
Onward and upward for them. Also, I want to talk about Haas. So this was kind of like, we missed this on our news updates last time because I think it had just come out that day.
Yeah.
But Gene Haas is coming under some fire recently because he has been accused, or his company rather, just Haas Automation in general, was accused of selling parts to Russian defense contractors after the ban, obviously, with the whole Ukraine war and everything. So the U.S. government's banned doing any kind of trades or dealing with Russia, and they're being accused of selling parts to Russia.
So when is the time frame of like this investigation? Is it something that we'll know in like the next 2 months, or like a year from now?
I have no idea. So the government, like our government, the U.S. government hasn't responded to any of the accusations, or basically said like how they're investigating or what the recourse will be or anything like that. But if they do, investigate and find that something was done that should not have been done, they could like crack down on them and then kind of even force Gene Haas to sell that team off.
Well, not only sell the team, I'm sure he would probably go bankrupt from all the different fines that they would probably slap at him over this,
Right.
And on top
Yeah.
of that, the brand in itself would take a huge hit
Hit from it for sure.
I mean, think of right now, that's such a big sensitive thing.
Topic. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, like he's got the ties there from back with Nikita and Nikita's father's company, and that was their sponsor and all of that. So I don't know. It could be interesting. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were saying this could potentially be an opportunity for like an Andretti to come in and buy that team. Like if he were to force to sell it off, that would be like an opportunity for them to come in and get into the sport. So, and it would still be an American team.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and on top of that, especially because AlphaTauri came out and said that they weren't selling, because I think we had talked about that previously, that maybe if they sold, would that open up the door for Andretti to come into the sport. So
yeah, I'm still like, the jury's still out on that for me. I still think they're going to eventually sell that team.
I don't know.
Like in the next 2 to 3 years.
But that leads into our news on AlphaTauri of them talking about changing their name.
Yeah, I know. And so it's like, to me, I just feel like it's a deflection tactic.
You think
like,
so?
I think it is. I think they're like, look, like we're not going to sell. We're going to change the name. Like, what are you going to change the name to? Back to Toro Rosso?
Maybe.
Just sell it and change it to Andretti. Maybe that's what he's trying to say by saying the name will be changing. It'll be owned by somebody else.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. Also to Nelson Piquet, which is obviously Kelly Piquet's father.
Yeah.
He has been ordered by a Brazilian court to pay over $950,000 in moral damages for racist comments that he's made about Lewis Hamilton, as well as like homophobic comments that he's made in the past and language that he's used in interviews.
Yeah. So
it's not okay for him to be making those comments, but I just thought it was strange that somebody could be sued for making comments.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah. So all of those funds that he is going to be paying in these fines will be allocated to different groups that promote equality and I guess discrimination type things. So
yeah,
that'll be good.
Discrimination, yeah.
Right.
But I was about to say, I think that's better than them just sitting with the Brazilian government. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, 100%.
Being penalized, but then taking that money and then actually putting it to good use. Not to say that going to the Brazilian government is not good use, but you know what I mean? At least it's like going back to like fighting what he did wrong. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, which hopefully he'll learn a lesson because he has made other comments in the past and I don't know, he's such a divisive character.
You say a wild card.
Yeah. But then 2, we had Formula Equal. I had not heard about this before. I heard about it this week. I thought it was really interesting. So kind of going off of like Nelson Piquet and some of the comments he makes. So Formula Equal is a team that has basically put in an application to join the grid 2026 and beyond. And their goal is to basically have their whole entire team be half female and half male. So everything down from like engineers, people that are working in the background to the actual drivers. So I think that's like
adding a team.
So, well, yeah. So the FIA opened up the opportunity or the potential for the opportunity to be there for more teams to join the grid 2026 and beyond. So that's like when Andretti put in their application or kind of like intent to want to join as a team. And so there's a bunch of other people that have been also to submitting applications and trying to get on. So this is just one of them that has submitted an application, is this Formula Equal team. And so they're being backed by a quote Gulf country. The person that's running the team, which is Craig Pollock, that was the founder and CEO of the British American racing team that eventually got sold and bought by Mercedes. So he is being backed by this Gulf country, which he wouldn't disclose which one it is, but like it's probably Saudi.
Yeah. But still, I think that's kind of cool. Like,
I think it's great.
I think having a Middle Eastern country that has clearly struggled with human rights and things like that to come out and have like a 50-50 team, like,
yeah,
I think that's like it's a step in the right direction
for sure. And that's what I was gonna say. I think it shows like positive intent on their part of like they're gonna put money into something that is supporting females and like uplifting female, which is great because obviously we haven't seen that from them. So I think it's positive. Right. And that's what I was going to say too. Like, I hope it's genuine. So, but interesting. I thought that was interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully they get an opportunity and we can see something like that. Cause I think it would be awesome to see a team that's 50-50, especially down to the drivers.
Yeah, but not even 50-50, but it would be really cool if it's 50-50 and then something with LGBTQ community. Oh my gosh, I got all those letters all jumbled up in my mouth. But you know what I'm saying? Like, openly one way or the other. Like, I think that would be such a cool kind of extra add to it, you know?
Right, definitely. Yeah. No, and I think like as the sport gets more popular and gets more fans, like it's going to have to be because the fans are basically going to demand it. So,
well, not only that, but like I just think the world's starting to demand it, like to be more open and accepting of, you know, anyone. So I think it's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so lastly on news, we had Stefano Domenicali come out this week and say that he is considering canceling or like getting rid of all of the practice sessions.
What?
Yeah. So going off of like what we were just talking about with fans kind of demanding things and really just, I wouldn't want to say demanding, but just really leaning into more of like, what do the fans want to see?
Yeah.
Which I guess I can kind of say like, yeah, this is probably true. Like the practice sessions are not as popular as the races are or like qualifying is.
They still bring in money though. I mean, we did practice rounds in COTA last year and they were
of course
packed.
Right. So, for sure.
I don't know.
Well, and to me, I'm like, I just think this is ridiculous because like you need to have the practice sessions.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's part of the sport because heaven forbid, like remember last year at COTA when who was it that wrecked Kevin's car in practice?
It was Antonio Giovinazzi.
Yeah. And
I love saying his name.
It's part of the sport of like, you know, Kevin was like, oh, well, I didn't get a lot of, you know, time in the car
Run time.
before qualifying, and it adds another level of complexity to the sport, in my opinion. You know,
Right.
You need
Well,
a few
yeah, and I mean,
rounds. Maybe you could do 1 or 2, but something. Ugh,
yeah, I think there at least has to be one, and I would think it would kind of be interesting to see if they went down or got rid of some of those sessions, because that would make it more complex. Like, that means that the teams would have less time to figure out the track, figure out the setup and what's correct and what's going to work best for them. So that would kind of throw I mean, not kind of, it would definitely throw a wrench in things for them. But I think just getting rid of them altogether is kind of ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I'll be interested to see, like, when they have their press conferences before the Australia race. I'm sure they'll ask some of the drivers and some of the team principals, like, what are their thoughts on that? I'm really interested to see what they have to say about that. But Stefano Domenicali even went this past weekend to a MotoGP event in Portugal, because MotoGP, apparently they don't do practice sessions. So he wanted to see, like, how the event ran, without the practice session. So he's, like, seriously thinking about this.
Oh, God. Oops. But it's not like he can just pick
Somebody's
and decide for everybody. I mean, I would assume that there's some type of, you know,
no, I mean, he's going to have to, get that passed. And then Ferrari has their little vetoes. So
I was just about
pull
to
that
say
out.
that.
And be like, no, they need practice sessions for them. Oh, God bless. Okay. I also, just real quick side note on that event that he was at, this MotoGP event, Lando's ex, Luisa, was there. So it's in Portugal. She's from Portugal. So actually her brother races in MotoGP.
Okay.
And I guess their dad also raced in MotoGP. So just a little interesting tidbit. But yeah, that's it for news. There's lots of stuff going on.
There is. I'm definitely excited to see the race. So, but leading into the race,
of course,
let's talk background on the Australian Rolex Grand Prix.
Oh yeah. So this has been going on at the Albert Park Circuit in Melbourne since 1996. So it's been on the calendar for a long time. It actually used to be like the first race of the year for years and years and years. But yeah, so they've been racing there since 96. They have a contract to continue racing at this circuit until 2035. So it's pretty long.
That's got to be one of the longer contracts, I feel like, for a track.
Yeah, for sure. F2 and F3 will be racing here for the first time this year. They haven't previously, so exciting to see some F2 sessions as well going on.
Do you think Chasing the Dream will start back up?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I haven't seen if, like, they've come up with any new episodes recently. I haven't looked, to be honest.
I was trying to watch, and I don't think they have, but I would have to go back and look again. But
But okay, so this race is 58 laps. The circuit is 5.2 kilometers, 3.2 miles. Okay, so stay there. The race length is 306.124 kilometers.
I put 3.6. 190 miles.
190 miles. All right. So the lap record was made this past year in 2022 with Charles Leclerc. Woo-hoo! Yes. So our boy likes this track, which is exciting. And his lap record is 1 minute and 20 seconds. 1 minute and 20.26.
So we could potentially see some lapping.
Yes. They're shorter laps for sure. For sure.
So that could play into things like having to get through traffic and things whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
definitely.
We can see that in
in Saudi.
In Saudi. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Where were we?
No. Yes, in Saudi. But okay, so the track mixes existing roads around this Albert Park It's actually like a really pretty circuit because it literally goes through this like park where people will walk their dogs and like hang out in the park and everything.
Is there any issues with like wallabies on the track?
I don't know.
Canada has issues with the gophers.
Yeah, and isn't it like is it a groundhog too?
Groundhog or a gopher, one of the two.
Is it the same thing?
Remember, Latifi was talking about you have to be careful.
And he ran over one.
Track. Yeah. Remember? Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be a good question. Maybe editing Alex can check if there's any issues.
I'm going to find out if there's ever been any wild animals. But I mean, they're highly possible because it is in a park. So okay. Part of it is existing roads that are around the park. And then the other part is temporary that they put up in the parking lot for the track, which is kind of similar to how the Miami track is too. So that is like, well, it's the Miami track is mostly temporary, but a lot of it goes through the parking lot. And then I think one of the straights is like part of the turnpike over there, like the highway. So interesting. But because of that and it being temporary, they've had complaints in the past of it being bumpy in certain areas. So they've tried to resurface some of that to help like improve all those issues. So we'll see, but we could be seeing some people complaining about bumpy or uneven. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then also too, since it is a temporary track or there's not really like cars running on this, it's not like a regular circuit that has like rubber already laid down from other race car drives going by. So it will be more slippery at the beginning of the weekend.
Okay. But another reason why you need practice rounds. So you can lay on the rubber.
That's right. That is correct.
I'm just going to sell this practice round thing.
I know. We need to talk to Stefano Domenicali because we enjoyed going to practice. This track is considered to be one of the faster tracks on the calendar too. So like a lot
of speed tracks at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, which is interesting. I know. And like there's more, and I think it's considered faster because there's less like turns, there's less corners on this track. It's kind of like free flowing. Okay, so moving on to the timing of these sessions. So Australia is from us 16 hours ahead of time. So
in Houston, Texas.
That's right. And we're in Central Time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is way ahead. So we will be seeing this race here at our local time at midnight. Which is 4 p.m. local in Australia, or 4 p.m. Australia time. It'll be in the afternoon.
Maybe I'll actually be awake to watch this because I'll be coming back from a wedding.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it'll be like technically like Saturday night going into Sunday. So you might be up still.
We'll see. We know Alex will be though, for sure.
I will be up. So okay, side note on our personal lives. My birthday is on Monday. Woo-hoo. And so yeah, happy birthday to me. I have planned for Dustin and I to go to this sushi place here in Houston. It's called Uchiko. I will have to report back and let you know how it is, Courtney, because we're big into sushi.
Oh yes.
And we're pretty picky.
Is this the one that you always go to, or is this new?
So no. I've been to this one, but I went in Austin.
Okay.
They just opened a location here in Houston, so it's owned by Uchi, which is like so fancy and good.
Yeah.
But Uchiko is a little bit more casual.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed the one in Austin. We'll see how the one in Houston is. But we're gonna go there for dinner, and then we're gonna go to a speakeasy. And I'm just trying to make sure we're awake still. I'm trying to make sure we're awake and functioning, because then I do have like, we'll get into menu stuff, but I have like midnight snacks for us. It's literally going to be midnight.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. And then Courtney, like she said, is going to be at a wedding.
Yes. Yeah.
So super exciting, busy weekend.
So
but okay, so
that's the time. What's
yes.
going on with the weather?
Right. So interesting enough, Australia is the land down under, down under the equator. So they are opposite on their seasons from where we are currently. So they're going into fall where we're going into spring, summer. So they're going to fall, winter at this point, and their temperatures are going to be cooler. So definitely cooler than what we've seen in Saudi and Bahrain so far this year. So they are expecting highs of like mid 60s.
Oh, wow.
And like most of the time it's going to be in the middle to low 50s. So it's going to be cold. So it'll be interesting to see like heating up of the tires, you know, getting them up to temp. It's also in the later afternoon at being at 4 p.m. in Australia time. So I believe like by the end of this race, the sun should start to set. So it's going to be even colder. So that'll be interesting. And then as far as rain expectations, they're expecting rain on Friday. So maybe that might mess with some of the practice sessions, but the rest of the time it's supposed to be sunny.
Okay.
So
we shouldn't see any starts on wets or anything like that.
No, I wouldn't expect to. But we started out at the beginning of this episode and talking about how like this is a fan favorite race. But all of the pictures, everything like looks super fun. I want to potentially maybe think about going there one day. I would love to.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Yeah. So let's get into talking about what happened at this race last year. So last year we had on the podium, we had Charles in a P1. He also started from pole for this race.
It's because he's Mr. Saturday.
I know. So sad. We'll see. And then we had Checo in a P2 and George Russell P3. So Charles like owned this race last year. And this was during the time frame of the season last year where he was like dominating and it was really looking like he was just going to run away with the whole season. So it was a very great time. It was a very happy time.
To be
and it was kind of short-lived. That's right. Yeah. That's right. But so he finished this race like 20 seconds ahead of Checo, who was in second place. So it was like a Max showing for him.
Yeah. It was like
Max style showing.
We always say that Max is on a Sunday stroll. You know, Charles was on a Sunday stroll last year.
Yeah, that's right. We were I don't even want to say I'm going to manifest that for him this year. I'm just like, I'm going to not, because I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm jinxing him now.
Yeah.
We're not going to manifest anything. But he also scored the fastest lap. And we saw a lot of different cars like going off the track at different points during the race. So being that, again, this race is like through the park, there's literally like grass on, like, you know, some of the tracks will have like gravel traps and different things, which this one does as well. But they also have just like grassy areas like right outside the lines. So we saw like when cars would kind of cut corners, like they would run through the grass and then lose control, spin out. So that's something to look for sure. Yeah. Last year there was 3 DNFs at this race. Carlos, again, like I just talked about running through the grass, he did that. He ran through the grass and then skidded across the track, and got his car beached in a gravel trap that was across the track. So he did not have a good day. Yeah. It was a bad day for him. And then Sebastian also drove through a gravel trap. And then he had to DNF later when he crashed into a wall. So he kind of just like crashed into the wall. It was real weird. And then that caused a safety car. So that was pretty much the only time during the race where we had like any kind of battles, because that safety car restart and then it kind of bunched everyone up together. And then there was a nice battle between Charles and Max, but he stayed ahead. Charles did. And then Max ended up DNFing too. During like the last 10 laps, and he was in second place. whenever he had to stop, and he just like was on the radio saying that he smelled something weird.
Yeah.
And then they told him to stop the car. So there was
like,
engine problems.
Who did that happen to? Lance the other weekend. Remember, they were like, stop the car, stop the car. So
yeah. Yeah. So something was going on there. His car was about to probably explode or something. They were like, you have to stop the car now.
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, so that was the race last year. This is so home races for some of these drivers. So Oscar is literally from Melbourne. So he's like, not only is he Australian, he's also from the city, and he grew up, I think, like 10-15 minutes away from this track. So he's super familiar with it. He's got a lot of his family, friends, probably fans too, like tons of support for him during this weekend. So that'll be exciting to see. Bottas is also kind of like an honorary Australian.
Because his girlfriend.
I think, yeah, because of his girlfriend. And he like adopted the country, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he also will have a special like helmet design that he created just for this race, because he does feel like it's like his home race. So it's cute for him.
He spent a lot of time there over the
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. I mean, majority of his time, yeah, he was down there. So he loves it. And then we're gonna have Daniel Ricciardo. He'll be in attendance.
Well, attendance, not driving.
Right. Right. But he will be there. He's already done a lot of like promo and marketing stuff. So they filmed this. It was actually pretty cool, like a Red Bull kind of promo where he's like driving through like the desert and like driving to get to the race and all of that. So I'm sure we'll see him either commentating or doing something. I don't think there's any plans for him to be in the car driving, but you never know. Somebody could get food poisoning.
Yeah, I mean, Max wasn't feeling well right before the Saudi race, remember? Isn't that he missed the press day because of that?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think like rolling into some of our predictions, that's going to be one of my hot takes, is that Daniel Ricciardo is going to put something in someone's drink, put something in someone's food.
Oh my God.
He wants to get back in the car.
You don't think that Max doesn't have somebody like vetting his food before?
You think he has a food taster? He probably does.
I don't know.
Oh my God, he probably does.
There's more people in this world that probably have one and you just don't know it.
That is interesting. I never thought about that. You're probably right.
For sure, presidents.
Okay, would you... how much would you have to be paid per year to be like a food taster for somebody? You wouldn't do it?
No, I'm too picky.
You wouldn't take that risk?
Well, I'm just a picky eater, so I'm not going to go escargot or something like that.
I would do it. I would hard do it. You'd have to pay me like $500,000 a year.
That's it?
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
I would at least $1 million, Alex. We're talking about
I think I would do it for 500,000.
We're talking about your life, though.
I would do it for Max Verstappen. If you're looking for somebody to vet your food,
Alex will do it for $500,000.
I will do it for the small fee of $500,000 a year,
and tickets to the Paddock Club for every race.
And tickets. Well, I would be in the Paddock Club because I'd have to try his food.
Well, I don't know. They could bring it up to you in the stands or something.
No, I would require to like be there.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going to negotiate this contract, you need to negotiate the contract. And you have to have 4 tickets for every race in the Paddock Club.
Right. Because I need to bring my friend.
Yeah. Just in case it's your last supper.
That's right. I have to be surrounded by family and friends at all times. I think that would be fun.
So now the question is for our viewers, how much would you need to be paid to be a food taster for,
yes,
say the average billionaire?
That's right. I will put that. So there is a question spot. If you are watching this or listening to it on Spotify, there is a question spot where I try to put either like a poll or a question on every episode. So that'll be this week's question.
I like it.
So let us know. Let us know. I've never thought about this topic before, and I really love it because I love food.
Well, I know, but we're also talking about your life, so.
I know, but the food. But the food.
Okay. So moving on.
Okay, so I'm kind of jumping around on our notes.
Well, I was going to say, but we're talking about food, so let's talk
right,
about
so that's what yeah, exactly. You were reading my mind. Okay, so as far as menu goes, I mentioned before earlier, we're going to be having some midnight snacks, and this is what I'm pulling out. So I've got these Aussie meat pies, which is like, even from my sister's Australian friend, confirmed that is definitely something that they're eating. It's especially like at this time frame of the day. Like, so a lot of people, like how here we go out, there's like food trucks and they're probably selling pizza or like tacos or whatever. Over there, they're selling meat pies. So it's like a handheld, almost like a chicken pot pie, but they're usually stuffing them with like ground beef, meat and potatoes, that kind of thing.
Kind of like a shepherd's pie.
Right. Yeah. So I have bought some of these Aussie pies. They're frozen. They're actually excellent. So it's a brand called Boomerangs. If you're listening in the States, it is available at a lot of different grocery stores, H-E-B, Whole Foods, Publix, all different kinds of places. And they are actually a friend of mine owns the company. So yeah. And I actually, when I was in Austin this past weekend, Thursday night, we went to dinner and he was there. His name is Jack. Super nice guy.
Shout out to Jack.
Shout out to Jack. We're talking about your boomerang pies. I'm going to tag them because I'm going to post the little picture of the boomerang pie box. Yeah. But they have a ton of different flavors. So they started out with like just the more, not, I don't want to say generic, but like the more traditional flavors. And then now they've expanded into like, they have like a mac and cheese pie that is incredible.
Oh, that sounds
so good. Yeah, it's literally mac and cheese inside of like a dough, like a flaky dough. Like, how can it be bad? It's so good.
I need to get this.
Okay, yeah, you need to try them. And they also have like a pepperoni flavor. They've got like chicken and mushroom. They have a bunch of different flavors. Meat pies, but anyways, they're fantastic. So highly recommend. And it's something that's easy, especially for this race. It's at midnight. Like, nobody's gonna want to be cooking anything from scratch. So I tried to, with our menu, go for like easy things. So that is definitely one. Pop it out of the freezer, put it in the oven. It's ready to go. It's delicious. Then we have Vegemite, because you have to have Vegemite. It's super Australian. Have to have it. So I've actually never tried it, but I was kind of thinking it was like a sweet, like syrupy, because it looks kind of like that color and consistency. Yeah. But I was shocked to find out, which I'm actually not shocked because it's called Vegemite, right? So it's like vegetable. It wasn't
sweet at all. I was thinking it's
really
like a hodgepodge of vegetables.
I thought, I don't know why I thought it was sweet. I was thinking it was going to taste like Nutella.
What?
No. I have no idea.
Why would they call Nutella Vegemite?
I don't know. I wasn't really thinking that it was said veg in it. Courtney, you're like, oh my God. I don't know what to say to you right now.
Okay, sure, Alex.
Okay, so how they're eating their Vegemite over there is they are doing like basically like a buttered toast and then putting a thin layer of Vegemite on top of the buttered toast. So it just gives it a little kick. So we're going to try that. We're going to see how that tastes. We don't know. Then they're also doing fairy bread, which is white bread with butter.
With rainbow sprinkles?
With rainbow sprinkles.
Oh my gosh.
I think it sounds great.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, to me, it's like the epitome of just like sweet, like like kids are like, this gotta be a kid thing, right?
I was about to say, I'm like, surely adults aren't just walking around eating fairy bread.
I mean, I would. But okay, so like, you know what it kind of reminds
unicorn in your first life, Alex.
I think I was.
Literally.
And I love anything rainbow color. I mean, you know me.
I know.
I love it.
Oh, that's so funny.
But okay, so it kind of like this, I don't even want to call it a recipe because it's really not like that intense. But when I was reading about this, it reminded me of like when I was a kid, my mom would make me buttered toast and then she'd put sugar and cinnamon on the toast and it was like a little cinnamon toast.
It was crunch?
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of that because it's like sweet, but then it's got the butter.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're going to do that. Again, easy, quick. Doesn't require a lot of preparations. Yeah. And then they also have Tim Tams, which are like a little chocolate biscuit / cookie. Okay. So I would kind of like our Oreos or something like that. Like that's what they're eating over there is Tim Tams. Okay. And then this one will require some work, but I'm going to make a pavlova cake.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Sorry.
Do you know what a pavlova cake? Like, have you heard of this before?
But I'm thinking back to our experience of week 1 and your attempt at making non-American food.
I think it's gonna go well.
I mean, I'm going to send all my good energy to you.
I'm hopeful and I'm positive.
I just can't wait to hear what Dustin has to say. Dustin is the harshest critic.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
Very open and honest about what he likes and doesn't like.
That is true. I will let you know. I will let you know what happens. I'll send you pictures of this. But my sister's friend made this for New Year's when we were in Florida. Yeah. And she brought it over and I was like, oh my God, what is that? It's beautiful. Like, and basically what the pavlova cake is like this big kind of sheet of meringue. Okay. And then you cover it in a fresh whipped cream and then you put fresh berries on it.
Ooh, that does sound
good.
But
so the trickiest thing about it is making the meringue and making sure it doesn't like fall flat.
Can you just buy the meringue?
Not in like a sheet like that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could buy the meringue like in little, like I could make like little individual ones. I'm going to try to do it.
Okay. Well, I can't wait.
I bought the eggs. I'm all in. I'm going to try it.
Okay.
And then also too, I told Dustin, I was like, it's my birthday. So that can be like my little birthday cake.
Yeah. Might as well.
It's going to be a pavlova. Hopefully it's good.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. So moving on to drinks. My favorite coffee, I mean, Courtney's not a coffee drinker. Nope. But I am a huge coffee drinker. I love a flat white, and flat whites originated, and there's arguments online, either Australia or New Zealand, but the people in Australia are drinking flat whites. Okay. So for coffee drinkers out there. Yes, to stay awake, I will be drinking a flat white. It's basically espresso with steamed milk. Super easy, super great, delicious, love it. So also, I'm trying to track down Daniel Ricciardo's wine, the DR3 wine. Mm-hmm. Grown, obviously, in Australia, the grapes produced out there, everything. So I think they have it at Total Wine. But haven't procured it yet. So
did not try Wine Merchant on Shepherd. Over in Montrose.
Okay.
They might. I don't know.
I will try that.
Very odd wines.
Okay. I will try that. But yeah, I really want to try it. So we'll see. I've heard people say that it's good. It's mainly red wine, I believe. Okay. Which is, I will drink red wine. It's great, but I prefer a white wine. Mm-hmm. Which, moving into the white wine, my favorite wine that I've recently found, I think I told you about it the other day. I didn't bring any to your house. I should have.
I know.
But Oxford Landing, Sauvignon Blanc, South Australia. It fits. $8.99 a bottle.
Better than a New Zealand?
For $8.99, I say yes.
Okay.
I say yes for $8.99. Yes, I know. And then lastly, a cocktail. So we have the LLB, which I thought was a cute little name.
Yeah.
I want an LLB. And so my sister's friend said that this is like very popular, and traditionally it is a mocktail. So it doesn't have alcohol, because what they're doing is basically doing lemonade, a little bit of lime juice, and then the Angostura bitters, which is like that orange bitter. But she's like, you can easily just add vodka to it, and now it's a cocktail. And so that's what they do. So it's a little like, it's basically, to me, I'm like, that sounds like a vodka soda with some lemon and lime in it and some bitters. So that's what I'll be doing. Yeah, for sure. I already have the bitters. I have the bitters from the Singapore race last year.
Oh, yeah. That's
so anyways.
Well, man, I'm sad I'm going to be missing you.
I know, but it's okay. There will be 20 more races. So, running into our predictions. I already told you what my hot take prediction was.
Yeah.
That Daniel Ricciardo is going to poison, I think, Checo.
Oh, Checo?
If he poisoned Max, it would be like Joss would kill him. It would not be okay.
Christian
would
destroy him.
Yeah, no, it would not be okay. So that's my hot take. But do you have a hot take? What's your thoughts?
I don't know. No hot takes for me.
Okay.
No hot takes.
None
for me this week.
Okay, so I think another prediction I want to make too is that I feel like we're going to see a lot of girlfriends and family members and everything here, because again, this is like a huge like fan favorite race. Everyone loves Australia. I think that one of the things too, like different from Saudi to here, is like this is the only like little Australia fact that I'm going to drop here, but it ranks amongst the highest in the world for quality of life, democracy, health, education, economic freedoms, civil liberties, safety, and political rights, which is like huge contrast from where we've just been. So that is why I'm going to predict that we will see a lot of the girlfriends, wives, family members. And I'm excited because there was not a single one during the Saudi race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see Kevin's daughter.
Oh my gosh. I feel like she's going to be there. She's so adorable. She's so cute.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see too, like Nico Hulkenberg's wife with their daughter. I just think everyone's going to come out for this.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get everyone there. So that'll be exciting.
All right. Who's your 1, 2, 3?
Yes. So my podium prediction. So I am going to predict a first place Fernando Alonso.
Ooh.
I changed this from my notes. I don't know if you looked at them earlier. But I'm going to predict a first place Alonso, second place Max, third Checo. And why I'm going to predict first place Alonso. So there has been this thing going around. I think it started on Reddit or something. And everyone always comes up with these like the stats and all of that. So every driver that's made it to 101 podiums, that 101st podium, they've won the race. So everyone that has at least 101, their 101st podium is the first place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Fernando just got his 100th podium.
Officially.
I know, after all the back and forth. So I think he's going to get the 101st podium this weekend, and I think he's going to get first place. Because how could he not?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to put Alonso first, but after hearing that, I feel like I can't. That's just fate, in my opinion. So.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, the argument's there.
I think it's going to be a Red Bull to, like, lock out after that.
Mm-hmm. So you think Alonso, then Max, then Checo?
Yeah.
Okay. We're the same. We're the same. Two, I also think Oscar will have a better race this weekend. Well, he will have his best race this weekend. Just because, like, he's got all his fans, or I keep on saying fans, his family.
Yeah.
And his friends, and his fans, I guess, too. So, yeah.
I could see that. But again, he didn't DNF, what, round 1, round 2. So there's not much to build off of, is what I'm saying.
Right. True.
But we'll see.
True. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I think that's pretty much all we have.
Yeah. We'll have, what, this episode, and then we have quite a long break, 4 weeks or so. We'll try to mix in some fun episodes on different topics and whatnot, kind of like our conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
So look out for all of that. And then, of course, look out for Alex's the bingo.
Yeah. So print out your bingo cards.
Yes.
I'm gonna we'll make some more too. So we'll have some different ones, like, as the season kind of progresses and different things start happening. We'll throw in some different ones there. But those were a lot of fun to make. So definitely print them out, play with your friends, play with your family while you're watching the race.
Yeah.
And yeah, just something fun to go along. But all right. Well, so this has been Queens of the Paddock and F1 podcast. You can listen to our episodes on Spotify and YouTube with video. And then we're also on Apple Podcasts, anywhere you find your podcasts. We're on Instagram at Queens of the Paddock. So look out for that. We'll have some different pictures and different things to go along with our episodes. And then we're on Twitter as well. So that is it.
My name is Courtney. Waiting for you, Alex.
Sorry.
Alex, you're just totally forgetting your name.
I know. Okay, so my name is Alex.
And I'm Courtney. And lights out and away we go.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.